Good day. So this is our walk around of what we have for the 48 Dodge truck. We'll start with the little stuff in here. Some of this stuff's not going to be too useful depending on what you're trying to do, but this is the factory wiring harness. Pair of glove box doors. It's good to have a second one because you can use it to, like the dash is symmetrical. You'll see that when we get out to the truck. And you can take one of them and cut it out for your installing modern gauges. I did that in the 49 that I did. Coming over here, these are windshield wiper motors. They're vacuum. Here is your factory speedometer. This one's still quite clean and not rusty. Speaker grill, which goes in the opposite side. The VIN tag for the truck. These are the factory gauges. There is a gauge missing. Temp, I believe. It might be in some of this other stuff. I haven't been able to find it. Master cylinder from a more modern vehicle. Set of headlight rings. Over there is the factory mirror. Hold on a second. It's on a steel, like this is the factory bracket that goes on the door hinge. So there's a, seems to be the original horn. What else you got here? With the wiper motor is wiper arms and pivots. Those wiper motors are vacuum powered. In here, original pedals. These are for the door. These are like inside door panels for accessing inside the door. The rest of the stuff in here again seems to be some original stuff that may or may not be useful, like an original fuel pump, things like that. I mean, it doesn't have the original driveline with it. This is for holding the column to the dash. Also over here, these two pieces here are the inside and outside window trim on the windshield, like splits the windshield. Rear taillight housing. In here, some headlight buckets and wiring. And some of this wiring, I don't know how useful it would be, but it is the original stuff and something to work from. And some neat trinkets that aren't really useful, like this. This is the starter button. It has the contact. It goes in a hole in the floor, and you push it with your foot to engage the factory starter. Again, it doesn't have the factory driveline attached, so why the gentleman saved those things, I don't know. Torque converter. Come over here. So here's the 360 and the pair of heads. The heads are nothing special. The 360, I believe there's pictures that show it doesn't have a ridge. It does have flash rust on the bores, but I'm sure it's a very good core as far as rebuilding. Inside the oil pan is the water pump and timing cover and things like that to help put it together. Dipstick tube. Some pulleys for the 360, a couple alternators. The rods and pistons are in here, and the balancer. So again, these are cores that'll obviously need to be bored and stuff, but I'm sure the rods are still good and usable. Crankshaft, again, some flash rust, but it's actually not super bad. It's for sure a usable core, no question, if you want to go with this 360, and if not, it's a core you could flog to somebody. Some of the trim, the Dodge Ram hood ornament, and the front Dodge trim that goes on the front valence panel. Over here to the truck itself. So keep in mind, it looks like a truck sitting here, but basically what I've done is arranged the pieces, since there is no frame currently, like there is the Dakota frame, but it's not on it. So here's a couple of bumpers. I've had some spare bumpers from when I did my 49. This is a good piece, very usable radiator. When you're using the factory body and supports for stuff, it saves a lot of hassle if you can make the original rad work, and it's here and in very good condition for one of these. So back to the truck itself. It's sort of been stripped a bit, so you can sort of see the original color in spots, and it kind of matches some of those other pieces I showed you. It is all here. These are known for rusting above the rivets. This is the worst one right here. Does have a small spot above the rivets. These holes here in the hood are where the ornament goes, obviously. See, this fender, in contrast, is just starting to bulge here, so it's very, very workable as far as that goes. So the cab, inside the cab here, is all the metal that makes up the rest of the pieces of the floor, like all the floor on bolts. So the pieces of the floor, as well as the inner fender wells, like this one's an inner fender well. This large piece here, again, it's hard to see this stuff in here, but that's why I'm trying to point it out. At least if I point it out in a video, you can kind of see what it is compared to if I just take a picture of it. It's a bunch of metal, so you can see it comes over here. This is the rat support. The chrome pieces are all here. Those are the ones that go on the hood and on the front. There's actually lots of spare chrome because I've located, well, it comes with this, which is a Fargo clip. And it's got a couple, I mean, they're a little dinged up too, but could be worked. I actually have some pictures of another Fargo cab that I know of in this area. Now, it's not mine, but I know the gentleman who owns it, and he has said that you can have it. And it has all the glass in it. All the door glass, all the no drafts, and the windshields. Now, of course, the windshields are cracked, but you could tape them up and take them out and use them as templates for getting new ones made, because they are just flat safety glass. I had every piece of glass made for my 49 for $500 at a shop in Crossfield. Those are the running boards. Let's see, come back here. So here's the box. These boxes come apart. I don't know how familiar you are with them, but basically it's just it's a front piece, two sides, tailgate. There's some cross pieces. The cross pieces are all here. The fenders, they all just bolt on. Here's a spare set of front fenders that aren't quite as good, I suppose, but I don't know, they could be used for patch material or whatever. Here's some more. Looks like there's more wiper linkage in here, more wiper pivots. So there's a lot of spare parts as well. Anything that's got a bit of a green color to it was, I guess, the original color of the truck was a pale green. So there's, you know, stuff like this in here. The chrome handles and latches and things like that are all in this box as well. The Dodge tailgate, it's not bad. It's very good for rust. You know, it's had some welds on it. I don't know if they were welding up holes or what they were doing. It looks like someone welded up some holes and there was a sign on it at one point in its life. But I mean, it's as good a one of these as you're gonna find. When I did my 49, I had a heck of a time finding. Well, I had a tailgate that was reasonably straight and had no luck finding anything any better. In fact, finding them at all can be difficult. But as I said, there's a front clip. It's a complete cab. The one that the other guy has is a complete cab. It's a 48 Fargo cab with a VIN on it. And like I said, it's for free. I wouldn't be able to transport that to you, but I can bring you all this stuff, and if you want to come and get that other one, that would be something you could do. Yeah, so the box fender, it's got a split in it. Pretty normal. What the heck is that here? Here we go. Pretty normal for one of these. You know, weldable. The seat's been stitched up in a few places, but the frame is intact, and for one of these, again, it's a very, very, very workable piece. That piece sticking out of the box, that's like a floor piece for where the floor shifter would go through, so that's another floor piece. There is spares of a lot of this stuff. Like here's another, you know, another inner fender, and I believe there's another inner fender there as well. So there's lots and lots of spare stuff. Like I say, with that other cab, you'd have all the glass including this back one, like it's still in the cab. I'll just take a quick look out to the frame itself. So you can see what I mean about, see how the glove box door is missing over there, and over here it's the same shape. So on mine, what I did is I cut this out and I took a glove box door and I mounted my gauges in it and installed it. And then in those two holes, I used speaker grills for both of them, and then just put the radio in the center. But from the factory gauges go in the rectangular hole, except for the speedo, which goes here, and a speaker grill goes over there, whether it had a radio or not. And this one did not have a radio. Most do not. I do have an upright radio from a Mack truck that you could have if you wanted, but I mean, it's up to you what kind of build you want to do. I know this piece is in here as well. This is the vent, the cowl vent levers. I know that piece is in with all this stuff. So lastly, we'll look at the frame. So the frame is here. It's been cut in two pieces and made. You can see that's one, and here's the other. So they'll fit together and they just need to be welded. I didn't do any of this stuff. Like, this came to me like this. So there's, you know, independent front suspension. So this would be the bottom side here. It's intact as far as that goes. The suspension is completely intact, as well as the differential, which I believe is an 8 1/4 Mopar. Yeah, that's for sure an 8 1/4 Mopar differential. Leaf springs and so on, shocks frame. So it's going on to a more modern chassis, and there's some wheel spacers and these modern wheels that I don't know what they're off of, some sort of newer Chrysler product, obviously, but they're included with the deal. So in any case, that's where we're at, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you very much.